Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to jump on and do a really quick video as I know a few of you have been asking me how I set up Chrome in my previous videos in relation to the search center and the custom search engines. So I thought I'd jump on, do a really quick instructional video just to show you guys how you can get these tools set up for your investing. So let's jump straight into it. Okay guys, I'm going to start by showing you the Google search custom search engines and how you set that up. Now, the first thing you want to do is identify a web page where there is a search parameter in the URL. If you don't have a search parameter in the URL, you won't really be able to use the custom search engine. So let me just show you what that means. So I want to set up a custom search engine today for ADVFN charts. So if I just click on charts here, and then I can search for any chart. So let me just search for Aston Martin. We always seem to use that as an example. So if I click on the result here, you'll notice in the top bar here, this part of the URL changes. Now with ADVFN, I noticed that actually if you take out the company name and just leave the ticker in the address here, and then I click on return to go to that page, this chart and the entire page still loads as expected. And then what it does is it actually does a redirect and kind of adds that bit in. But that doesn't matter. All we care about is the fact that we can identify this as a search term that will change every time I put something into this search box here. So let's do another example. Let's search for, if I just get rid of that, if I just search for Mighty Group, so MTO, click OK. You see again, in the URL here, this has changed. Now, again, I can just delete that bit, and luckily for me, the web page will still load, which is cool. So that means I know that I can use this URL with just this part here that I've highlighted as a Google Chrome custom search engine. So how do I set that up now? So what you do is you want to click on these three dots up here in the top right, then you click settings, and then on the left you click search engine, and then second option down, manage search engines. Now you'll notice at the very top you have the default search engines, and that's so when you just type randomly into the address bar, that means that Google Chrome will actually use the Google search engine to kind of find what you're looking for. And then beneath that you have this other search engines here, and you have kind of complete control over these. Now you'll notice all of the custom ones I've got set up at the top here because I prefix them all with these square braces, square brackets, and then JM. The reason I do that is just so they come up to the top of the list, because there's absolutely loads in here. I just want to be able to see the ones I actually care about. These others are kind of auto-generated. So what we want to do then is just click add. The first box here, search engine. This is just the name, the name for you to make it recognizable. So I'm going to, again, prefix this with JM just so it sticks to the top of the list. And then I'm going to call it ADVFN charts. Keyword. This is what you type into the address bar to trigger this search engine. And so I'm going to use CH for this. You want to keep it short and snappy. You don't want to be typing really any more than 3 characters. So just to give you an example of what this keyword actually does, if I open up a new tab here and then do RNS and hit tab, you notice it just triggers my RNS search engine, and then I can just type the ticker and then away it goes. So that's what that's going to do. It's going to allow me to type CH up here, CH, and then it will trigger that search engine. So that's that. And then I'm going to put the URL in, so I can just copy it from up here, paste it in there. And then we identified earlier that this is the part that we need to change. So you take that out and you replace it with % and then S, and then you click add. Now what that means is that %, anything I type after typing CH and then tab, there you go, it's triggered my ADVFN charts engine. Anything I type now, so if I do MKS and hit return, you see it gets put in the URL at the top there. So that's how that works. Anything I type after CH will get injected into that URL. So let's do another one. Let's go for PSH. And there we go. So that's pretty good, but we can do one better than that. If you watched my previous video, you'll notice that I like to just get straight to the content. I don't want to see anything that isn't of interest to me, when I just want to see a chart or level 1 or level 2 or RNS or whatever it might be. So if I want to make sure that when I trigger this search engine, it just jumps me straight to the content about here, I need to identify somewhere in the markup of this page an identifier. And we do that by right-clicking on the area we wish to identify, and you click Inspect, and it'll open this inspector down here in the bottom. And you notice that this heading doesn't have an ID tag, so we need to identify one. That's a title tag, that's a class tag. So we just need to kind of look around this area until we see an ID. And here's one, ID equals, and it's called symbol title. And you'll notice when I highlight this particular element, it actually highlights up here. Look, do you see that? The blue and the orange. So I just need to grab that symbol title, just copy it, and then back to my search settings. And then I'm going to edit my chart. And then right at the end of this URL, I'm going to put a hash sign or a pound sign, and then put that symbol title identifier in there and hit save. And now let's see what happens when I trigger the search engine this time. Okay, let's think of a new company now, HL Dot. Do you see that? It now takes me directly to this part of the page, and it's sort of scrolled down, if you like, and cut out all that header. That's called anchor tags. So that's really useful to use. I'd recommend setting those up if you can identify any ID sections on the web pages that you want to configure this for. And that really covers how you set up custom search engines. It's really straightforward. You just need to identify the web page that you wish to get it set up for, then identify the part of the URL that changes every time you search for a particular keyword, and then insert that into the search settings and replace the keyword with the %s sign. All right, now let's look at setting up Search Center. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is actually install the Search Center Chrome extension, and you do that through the Chrome extension web store, and you can just Google it to find it, but it's chrome.google.com/web store. Okay, and once you're there, you just need to click in the search the store input box here and type Search Center. And then there it is right at the top. Now, obviously I've already got this installed, so I don't need to install it, but you would just click on it here, and then there'll be a button in the top right saying add to Chrome. Once you've done that, it should appear up here in the top right, or potentially in a drop down underneath an icon similar to this. So once you have the extension installed, you just click this icon to open it, and then you want to click Options. Now once you're in this page, you click Manage Engines. Now I've obviously already got a bunch set up, but I'm going to add a new one today. I want to add one for the charts that we just set up a moment ago with the custom search engine. I want to have it so when I click on this guy and then click Research, it actually opens the chart page for a particular share. So to do that, we just need to click on Add Engine here at the bottom, and then a name for the engine. So I'm just going to do the same again. So ADVFN charts. This time I don't need to prefix it because it's not a big list that's going to get difficult to manage. Now the icon URL, you can just leave that empty, or you can kind of grab it if you like from the web page. So let's just open up the chart page again on an ADVFN. And this time, of course, we can do it using our new search engine. Right, now to find the icon, it's this guy here up in the top, this sort of three little bars. And again, I tend to use the inspector for that. So right click, click inspect. I hit the network tab, and then I click on images if it's not already selected. And then once you've done that, I just refresh the page. You'll find all the images that this web page has loaded, and I just scroll until I find the right icon. This bit, of course, is optional, but I'm a bit OCD, so I do like to do that. There's a GIF here. In this case, just for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to use that GIF. So I can right click on it and then open a new tab. And there we go, we can see it. So I can just copy the URL into the icon URL here. And then the search URL, we know this from earlier. It's the same, exactly the same thing again. I'm just going to grab that entire URL, paste it in there. Now we identified that this part wasn't important, so I'm going to take that out. And then this part is the part of the URL that will be replaced by my search term. Now with Search Center, it's not %s like it is in the custom search engine. You just need to type the word Search Center. Then click Add. And there we go. It's there in the charts. So what that does is it puts it down here. So that means if I type in a company name up the top here, and then click ADVFN charts, it will take me straight to the chart page. Now again, let's set up that anchor. So right click, inspect, search for the nearest ID, which we know is this guy here, the symbol title. Open up Search Center again, options, manage engines, charts. Go right to the end of the search URL, hash, and then symbol title. Click update. Let's try it again. We've already got the search term in there, keys, click charts. And there we go. Much better. But what I want to do now is you'll notice that if I click research, it won't actually open a chart page for me. Let me just close all these down. So we've got a clean work area here. Okay, so if I click this and I go research, it's loaded level 2, level 1, Stockopedia, ADVFN, RNS News, Short Tracker, Google Chrome, Google Search, IC, and IC Mag, and opened HL, which is actually the incorrect page, but it hasn't opened my charts. And the reason for that is because I need to actually drop it into that folder. So again, open the extension, manage engines, and I can just grab this guy and drag it up into my research folder. It's actually called a group, and you can add groups just by clicking this slightly odd trolley icon down here. And then when you do that, you can type in the group name and then just drag in any individual search engines that you've created into that group, and then it will appear up here. So now let's try that again. Click this guy, we've got keys already in there, hit research, and then you'll notice we have our chart. And that is how you set up the Search Center. And finally, I was asked to share my stop loss calculator, which I'm going to do. I'll put a link in the description below. It would be like a read-only spreadsheet, but what you can do is you can take a copy of it and then you can put it in your own Google Drive and edit it as you see fit. But what I thought I would do before you do that is just give you a quick kind of rundown on how it works. It's really straightforward, but it will probably be helpful just to show you quickly. So let's just take a real world example. What I'm going to do is leave one row in here for you to copy. What I do is highlight the row and then just copy it down. I'm going to change the ticker for the particular company I'm looking for. So let's just randomly select a company and pretend we're going to take a position with it, and then we can kind of fill the spreadsheet out in a real world example. All right, so using my HL custom search engine, let's open up IGG. And let's start filling this out. So we've got the sell price and the buy price here, 799.5 and 800.5. Now what I've done is I've made the input, so the cells that you can actually change in bold and a slightly bigger font size so it's obvious. All those that are automatically calculated are just slightly smaller in font size and not bold. Okay, so sell price at point of transaction, and then buy price. It's kind of prudent just to check the spread, obviously, before you enter a trade, just to check it's not, you know, something crazy like 5 or more %. So this is a good thing here. We can say that we can see that spread is nice and tight. Next up, the budget that you've got to invest in the share. So let's just say £1,500 for example's sake. Then it will ask you for the broker buy commission and the broker sell commission, and then any stamp duty that you may be paying on those. I'll leave you to fill those out. That will change based on your broker. And then the next 4 columns are really just showing you actually where your money's going. So if we look at the budget here, so you've got £1,500 to invest. When you break it down, actually only 1,480 of that is being used to purchase shares. And then it's going to ask you for the current sell price. So the first time you fill this out, it will obviously be the same as it is here. But as the market moves, you know, weeks, months roll by, you can just log in, update this figure here, then obviously it'd be very different to this starting figure here, but it's always nice to have a reference of that starting figure. All right, now if we just scroll all the way to the right over here, this is the total amount we're prepared to lose on this trade. So if it's particularly volatile, you might want to say, well, I'm only prepared to lose, say, 5%. My standard is just to go in at 10% if there's nothing alarming going on. So if we type 10% in there, it will tell us in this final column here what that actually is in a monetary loss. So in the worst case here is we'd be losing £149.78 if this all went wrong. How do we get out for that amount of loss? Well, it tells us here, it says the sell price for a total stop loss would need to go in at 728.65, which would result in a loss of £149.78. But you'll notice here that a 10% loss, total loss, is actually only 9.27% away from the current sell price. Just think about that for a minute. What that means is, it means that if someone goes in and says, I'm prepared to lose 10% on a share, you might instinctively think that that means the share price will need to come down 10% and then they're out. But of course, if the share price came down 10% and then that person got out, then you factor in the buy commission, the sell commission and the stamp duty. They've actually lost more than 10%. So this is a true 10% loss. And that's why I like to use this spreadsheet. So that covers these columns here. These blue columns are break-evens. So what that means is if you wanted to get into the share and then come out of the share with not losing or making a single penny, you would need to wait for the sell price to rise to 816.07 pence, right? So you buy at 800, you'd have to wait for the sell price, which is currently at 799.50, to increase to 816. And if you sold at that point, you would then have broken even. Obviously, that would be completely pointless. If that was your goal, you really probably shouldn't be investing. You obviously want your investments to make you money, but it's good just to know exactly where that break-even point is. And then these three green columns here, this is obviously where we're starting to make money. This is the numbers we want to hit. And so what this is telling me, column S, it's saying once the sell price reaches 979.29, up from 799, at that point, I would go in and put a stop loss in at break even. And that stop loss would then be 816.07. So it means that the share price has risen 20%. My stop loss is in at break even. So even in the worst case scenario, the share price would come crashing down and I'd be out for break even. But the whole point of this is, of course, that you put your stop loss in at break even and it's far enough away from the current sell price where you're not just going to get stopped out with a wide spread or a bit of volatility. And it gives it enough room to breathe as it keeps on going up. And that's what this room to breathe here is, 20%. If it was particularly volatile, you might want to give it more room to breathe. So let's say you wanted to give it 30%. You notice that increases the sell price before you put the break even in. Or perhaps if it was a particularly short-term trade and you were seriously worried about volatility and you just wanted to take profits early, you might think, let's go for a 10% increase and then I'll go in at break even. But my standard is always 20%. And this column here just tells me how far away from this target I am. So as this current sell price rises, so let's just rise this to say 850, we'd then be thinking, okay, well, I'm 14% away from it hitting this price, which means I can then trigger my break even stop loss entry. So that's a little summary of the sheet. I'm going to take this row out and then I'll share this in the description below. Okay guys, I hope that was useful for you. As always, any comments or questions, just leave them in the comments section below and I'll be sure to take a look throughout the week. If you want to see more investment tips and tricks like this, then be sure to hit the subscribe button as I do weekly videos here on YouTube. And if you want to make sure you don't miss out, then be sure to hit the notification bell. All right guys, thanks for watching and I will see you later in the week.